It's been nearly 20 years since Sonic Adventure 2 Battle was released in North America, and that time Sonic has, for lack of better terms, been somewhat murdered by its own company, which was once the company's most outgoing mascot, is now more or less a laughingstock of the gaming community. Games upon games have been released with what seems to be little to no care actually put into the titles. Looking at you, Sonic Forces. Until the most recent Sonic Mania, it was pretty safe to assume Sonic was never going to make it back to his former glory, which to me was the good old Sonic Adventure 2 Battle days. I've heard the same thing from many reviewers over the years. Sonic was always bad. There's never been a good Sonic game, in which my 13-year-old self would take to the forefront of my brain defending a game I so vividly remember was amazing. But what did this game do to my young self that made it stick out for all these years? Well, to answer that, I dove back into the butt-rock-infused speed thrill that was Sonic Adventure 2 Battle to find out. It hardly took any time before the cringe started hitting me. The voice acting is laughable at best, but games back then were still getting the hang of decent voice acting, so I guess I can let that slide. Falling from the helicopter after very cheesy one-liners and dropped into the beautiful city escape level, it immediately tickled my old nostalgia receptors, as that music has stayed in my head beat for beat and word for word ever since I was a kid. Singing along with the song and slip-sliding down the hill, it was apparent that the age of the game was starting to bleed through to me. God damn, did these controls age about as well as a day-old stillborn calf. You really do get appreciation for how far 3D platformers have come after playing games like this. Skipping not too far ahead, you get to the treasure hunts that used to be my nightmare fuel as a kid. For some reason, my little brain couldn't find the fucking crystals, so I always had a bad taste for these levels. But coming back to them, they're definitely nowhere near as bad as I remember. Pretty straightforward, get the hints, get the shards. Makes me wonder what my parents were feeding me as a kid that made me so stupid. Controls here are once again a little wonky, especially with the flying. Knuckles turns and spins so fast in the air, it's amazing that he doesn't have permanent whiplash from this game alone. And then we move ourselves to the Tails levels. Oh boy. I used to love these levels as a kid, running and gunning and blowing stuff up, but it was at this point I actually started questioning my younger self. This shit was exactly that. Shit. Tails literally controls like doo-doo. With the constant beeping and chirpings from the lock-on feature, it was insanely annoying. Who the fuck actually approved a beeping sound that was activated when you hold down a button that you pretty much will be holding down for the entirety of the level? It sounds like you're flatlining, but unfortunately that's not the case. You're actually just slowly destroying every memory that made you somewhat nostalgic for this game. So these are the basic mechanics of the game. Rinse and repeat. Go fast as Sonic, fly around in circles as Knuckles, pretend you're in the hospital flatlining with Tails. Fantastic. But then, the saving grace emerges. The Chows. And fuck, are they still the most adorable little egg creature alien things to ever be put into a video game. This was the only part of the game that hasn't lost any appeal to me. It's just a joy raising those little cute bastards. When they learn to swim or fly, it always made me giddy. It's like the adorableness is just too much to handle. The only downside to the Chow Garden is I'm pretty sure they can die. It didn't happen to me on this playthrough, but I remember when I was younger, my favorite Chow went into his little transformation bubble and just slowly disappeared. I cried for the loss of my little digital alien child, so I'm thankful that that didn't happen this time, because if I couldn't handle it then, I'm positive it would hurt me even more now. But getting back on track, the game shuffles these mechanics around, weaving your characters through what some would call a story. But it really seems like a bunch of random scenes that hardly have any connection to one another, other than vague coincidental dialogue that actually ties some scenes together. But even that makes it hard to take seriously with the way the dialogue is just so frickin' bad. So there I sat, after completing the hero side. I really didn't know what to say. The nostalgia glasses lay on the floor, shattered along with a little piece of my heart. Did the game actually age this poorly? Am I just a different person than who I was when I put hundreds of hours into this game? Probably yes to both of those things. I'm sure the game isn't as bad as I'm making it seem. It's absolutely playable in every way, but if you didn't play it when this first came out or as a kid like I was, I highly doubt playing this will change any opinion you have on the Sonic franchise. I think the reason I'm so hard on this is just that it hurts. It hurts watching something you once thought of as amazing reveal itself to be just another mediocre video game a little bit later in life. While replaying this, it did drop it down a bit on my favorite games list of all time. This game will always hold a special part of my childhood with it, and even that is enough to make me happy that Sonic is still out here providing the same service to a new generation of gamers. Hold on to those nostalgia glasses as long as you can, kiddos. The world is a much better place with them on.